Okay, Coastal Cape 401 here with Sean Skelly, the ice carver. We're down at the Newport Winter Festival, and he's doing some nice little ice carvings here. So we just wanted to get a little interview with him because we don't normally see ice carvers. It's not your typical kind of job or hobby that we see. So
Right.
tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you get involved with ice carving?
Well, most of the folks that I've met that do sculpture are involved in some kind of food service, banquets, buffets, and that sort of thing. That's where you see them mostly, your weddings and this sort of thing. And when I was the chef at Salve Regina a number of years ago, we did a lot of them. One of the managers there had some experience. They also had a corporate chef that had some experience. And the general manager at the time at Salve, I've done a lot of fruit, garde-manger work, the melon sculptures and buffet things, and that kind of decorations. And he knew I had a talent for that, and he's like, "Do you want to learn this?" So over the course of the summer, maybe 2 summers, I got his experience. I had the chef's experience, and then I just kind of took it from there. I took a class with a world champion guy down in New York. It was
Nice.
actually it was 3 full days, like 16-hour days of class and practicum and classroom. So
Yeah.
we went through the class for like a long day in one of the buffet rooms, and then the next, which was this is the funny part of it. It's actually fascinating. When we carved our ice, this was in January, I think. We were on top of the Marriott in Times Square,
Wow.
and
Cool.
and there was no safety net. I could walk up to the side of the side of the building and look right down at the street. No fence, no nothing.
That
And
is
there
amazing.
was like 30 of us all carving different pieces of ice to apply what he taught us. And he taught us how to modify tools. He taught us how to, this guy was really good. And he's one of those people that wasn't a chef. But Mark Dawkins was the guy's name. I don't know. It's a while back, so I'm sure he's involved in it. But like I said, this is not
This is
necessarily an older person's sport.
It doesn't seem to be. It's kind of cold out here. I think it's in the 20s today.
It's just moving
So,
them around. It's heavy. It's
yes.
heavy. But this guy was a champion, the ice carving, world class champion. He traveled the world, and some of his stuff was fascinating. So I got the opportunity to train with him. And then back when Eastern Ice was down on the wharfs there, I
Yes.
think they're in Fall River. I was at Salve. I knew a couple of guys from high school that worked there. My dad was friends with the Rossi brothers who owned and managed the
Right.
place. So I ended up having a bit of a symbiosis with Eastern Ice. I'd go down and I'd cut them some luges, which it's basically just an angle cut chunk of
Right.
ice. You can pour shots in it and drinks in it, and it chills it.
Seen them once or twice around here.
Right,
Yeah,
right. So
yeah.
I go down and I cut these guys a couple of luges. They'd give me a couple of blocks of ice, and I had a corner. Then it was me. There was a young lady that did it down there, and another one or two people would show up once in a while. But I really did do it for a couple of years out of Eastern
Great.
Ice, and
Great.
because it also helped them too, because they had plenty of people call them up and say, "Can we get an ice sculpture? Do you know an ice sculpture?"
Yes.
And
So, can I ask you this?
Sure.
What is the most intricate ice sculpture you've done, or the most difficult?
Well, there was one thing at the turn of the century. In Barrington, a private home was having their New Year's party, and I did I'm trying to think of how many blocks it was. It was at least 6 or 7 different blocks of ice, and I set up some stars out in the patio area, in the entrance area, stars on pedestal type
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
And then inside we had a large pedestal with a lit tray with crushed ice where they put the raw bar. And I did one of the things that I learned in my class was how to do snowflake graphics.
Yeah.
You can copy the logo of anything. Perfect.
Yes.
And you stick it on the ice, you etch it out with a router, and then you fill it with snow. So I had like the shooting stars in 2000 and happy on a large plaque on
That's
top of the pedestal
amazing.
in the house with their raw bar. But that was a very, very extensive and a very, I don't want to say it was pretty high end technical.
Yeah.
The stars and the pedestals out in the yard were pretty straightforward and easy, but the one inside was nice. I did when I was chef again. I worked with Moses Brown for a couple of seasons. I did a reindeer, like a flying reindeer on a pedestal with the antlers. And it
Cool.
was nice. And again, it was a food service thing.
Yeah.
Where we had our our buffet tables
Yeah.
and cold food set up around the ice carving and lit in a high room. That was pretty
Beautiful.
That's one of those are probably my two. I mean, and I've done some nice swans and fish and things and simple things. Another company that I did some carving for from this area was the Blue Rocks Caterer.
Yeah.
And Ingrid used me to do some pretty interesting raw bar setups, like multi-tiered pedestals with the bowls with the shrimp and the seaweed coming down.
Great.
Now I've gotten to do a few things that were pretty nice, And for orientation at Salve, we usually do a swan or a fish or a parrot or something like that.
So can I ask too, any special equipment you have here? Is it just your
Honestly,
run-of-the-mill
You can go into
chainsaw?
Home Depot and buy all this stuff.
Yeah?
I mean, I modify some of the stuff with. I mean, sometimes I install like in a chainsaw. I put a long cord in so you don't have a plug by where you're working.
Yeah.
If it's warm out. This could all be water.
Yeah,
It'd be mine.
right, right.
Can I ask you what you're creating?
I'm gonna do. This is gonna be like just like a rock kind of cliff thing. Once I smooth it out, and we're gonna have a castle with the walls and a couple of pedestals that are gonna be here.
Great.
About how long will that take?
I actually, if I really focused, I could bang this out pretty quick. But I like the conversations.
Okay,
Like my
I'm
favorite-
gonna come back.
one of my favorite parts is-
And
It's an hour and a half, and I'll
finish
be
the result.
probably hour and a half.
Okay.
I'll be done. But I
Alright.
give the young kids chunk of ice. That they,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool. It's
Can
probably
we
my favorite
actually
part.
see you do a little bit just for the end of our interview here? Can we see you do just a little bit?
I'm not 100% sure. The gentleman carving down there brought them. He has a company that he works with. Well, yeah, it's a very interesting process, the ice sculpture, the ice for block freezing. I mean, like I said, the Eastern ice, like you see in the movie where they grind the ice onto the fish on the boat, that's where they used to make those blocks for people. You improvise. Things get smaller. And again, we haven't done this since pre-pandemic.
Watch your step.
So, I did a couple of one of the places I was working, but my carving has been limited for the past couple of years. Because not so much. This is something that's once you do it enough, it's almost second nature. But
That's looking good so far. So
these are,
yeah.
Again, now I'm gonna make square turrets here, right there with the little, classic castle
yeah.
turret. And then a little bit of walls, and then I'm gonna take that big piece there and turn it into some towers
Found it too.
with the caps on it.
Great.
And I mean, it makes it
Duncan, man.
it makes it kind of almost easy to do in some respect. It's not like a big thing I have to move around. I take it in pieces. And once this gets all set up, I'm going to smooth it out and make like brickwork, like a castle.
Yeah.
I'll use the rotary tool to like cut just a brick pattern in the side. So
Great.
once it's done, it'll look pretty cool. It's going to look
Excellent.
it's a
Excellent.
castle.
Yeah.
I dig out my pictures, but
yeah.
they're buried in my phone in my package.
Well, this is so interesting, and thank you for doing this, and thank you for coming down. It's so interesting to hear about this stuff because, again, this isn't something
It's
you hear
unique.
about all the
You don't
time.
see
It's
it all the
very
time.
unique. Yes.
I mean, one of the places I
So-
will go to see these things is they have a contest down in Chester, Connecticut every year, and I'm not sure what date it is. It's usually around this time of year.
Yeah.
But Chester will have the guys coming out of New York City.
Yeah.
And they might have 30 carvers down
Yeah.
there. And to go down there and it's the same thing. It draws in the public to enjoy the restaurants, to
great.
enjoy the businesses. It's a big tourist draw, and it's a
Yeah.
beautiful little town.
Well,
I
it's
helped one
so-
of the guys that I've carved against. And it was
Well, it's so nice on a day like today because
This
it's
is
cold
actually
out
perfect.
and it's, people are getting out.
You don't
So,
want bright sun.
right.
Bright sun messes up the ice.
That's right.
And you definitely don't want warm temperatures.
That's right.
Today is actually perfect.
Yeah.
The weather, this is perfect.
Yeah. Well, Sean, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
My pleasure.
And I really appreciate it. And we will hopefully see a finished product soon.
Yeah, no, like I said, about an hour and a half, I'll be done.
Great. All right. Thank you very much.